What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Lunar Classic going nuts today. I've done a couple of videos, but I wanted to bring you, everyone's talking about the possibility of a dollar. We're going to talk about it in this video. Is it a real possibility? And equally, how long is it going to take for us to get there? So if you are holding Lunar Classic, and equally if your bag has grown significantly today, do me a favor, hit the like button. It does push us up in the algorithm, lets people know all about Lunar Classic. And if you haven't already, join over 8,000 people that are subscribed to my YouTube channel. We talk about cryptocurrency and Lunar Classic every single day. So with that being said, let's jump into what is going on right now. And here we have the chart for the 1 hour chart, 26373. We have just seen a couple of hours of pulling back, which a lot of people, you know, kind of think it's a good thing, and equally so do I. I think consolidation sideways before we start to make another move. And we can see as the trend of Lunar Classic, we see these consolidation sideways, we see these sells. Now we did see a pretty aggressive sell-off about 2 o'clock today, but that broke into the threes early on, and then we saw that big kind of sell-off. So I think this is always going to happen, and I talked about this in a number of videos, where as Lunar Classic goes up, we are going to see some pretty sharp sells where people have got their strategy to exit their Lunar Classic position. Now I do long-term believe we are going to continue on our rise up, but we'll definitely see a bit of a rocky trajectory. If we look at some of the volume though, 3.087 trillion tokens traded, absolutely insane, 3 times our current average volume. And what's really interesting with Lunar Classic is more and more people are talking about it. You can't open YouTube without someone releasing a video on Lunar Classic, so all pretty exciting. The test is going to be what we see over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours. Obviously we are building towards September the 12th. I do expect us to see that a little bit sooner, given the rate and volume that we've got going through. Bear in mind, it's built on blocks as opposed to a set time. Now, what we talk about is what is the possibility of Lunar Classic getting to that dollar. Well, it's a long way off, and I think everyone needs to accept it. What we can say though is if we trade at this current volume over 3 billion and we get, 3 trillion, and we get mass adoption from exchanges in terms of the burn that's coming, then we're certainly going to start to aggressively see this circulating supply of this remove. And I think the big thing with Lunar Classic is it's going to be all the little elements that come together to make a big change. So we know we've got staking, and nearly 8% of tokens are locked away in staking under those 21-day vested periods. And as people stake more, we're going to see that kind of fan out. So a lot of people are saying, well, you know, what's the risk of it coming when the staking unlocks? The reality is that depending on when you stake, it depends on how long you've got to wait for it. But I do expect us to see some strong moves up as we move towards the burn tax. I do then expect to see some sell-offs the day after the burn tax is implemented. The big question is, do we get mass adoption from exchanges? And I think version 23, which we've talked about, does have the whitelisting of the Binance wallets, which for me can only mean one thing. It's a testing protocol for Binance to see how that sits with their exchange. I don't see any other reason as to why they would do that, and I think it's really interesting to see. When we take a look at coin market cap, you can see there 25.17%, and again, to reference, it cannot continue to pump every single day of 25, 30, 45, 50%. We have to see pullbacks to have a healthy growth. What is interesting though is the rank is on the way up, and actually if this was all correctly blotted, we'd be, you know, breaking into the top 200s very, very quickly. Market capitalization at 1.7 billion, volume at 1.8 billion. So we are actually seeing more volatility, and look, this will be an incredibly volatile project. And price point, we know that, and I think anyone that's been in this ecosystem for a long time would absolutely accept it. What's my personal price predictions? I think, again, this volume, I think we could see the 4s, 3 zeros, 4s, certainly as we head towards this burn tax. What does it look like for the end of the year? Could we take another 0? Everything would have to go in our favor. Equally, we would have to see a big sentiment change in the market to drive the overall price of the cryptocurrency market up. Bearing in mind, we were under that $1 trillion park. I think if we get that and a lot of things going our way, and equally the rebels continue to develop, the community still supports this. And I think ultimately that's the big thing that's driving this, is community sentiment. And we have these other projects. We have the Lunatics token, Lunacy DAO, and lots of people are now starting validator nodes that ultimately are going to support staking and make this make money for you. And I think that's the exciting bit right now, is a lot of people are living in, you know, the potential that could come out of Lunar Classic. A lot of people are going to be staking. A lot of people are creating community validator nodes, which can only fundamentally support the project and equally start to move it. Long term, people are talking about $1. It is a long way to go. And again, we're going to have to go through a significant amount of volatility as people take and exit their positions for a significant amount of money. Again, if you are following my channel, you're subscribed to it, you'll have known we've been talking about this for a long time. So right now, your bags are probably pretty nice if you purchased it. Remember, nothing is financial advice. You should always do your own research. But Lunar Classic right now, going pretty crazy. And tomorrow is another day, but I'm excited to see what happens with Lunar Classic. But let me know in the description down below, what's your view on Lunar Classic? Where do you think the price will be before we see that burn tax implementation? Bear in mind, we are now under 2 weeks away from that coming, and I'll see you guys in the next video.